folks, and welcome back to another Pinal Prep Spotlight brought to you by Jones Ford Buick GMC, your hometown dealer for more than 50 years. Well, we already gave you guys our top 3 picks for both the baseball and softball season, so we're just going to jump right into things, getting back into the hang of things and kicking things off with, I guess you could call these our dual games of the week. We're going to give you guys one each for baseball and softball, and luckily for you guys, or us really, it's a crosstown rivalry matchup this week. It's Casa Grande Union and Vista Grande. First off, we're going to talk about the baseball teams. David, what are you expecting in this matchup?
Yeah, well, this one's going to be a really fun one in my eyes. Vista Grande, they're looking really strong to start this 2022 year. There's 4-1 so far in regular season play. But the guy I want to specifically talk about is Sebastian Hidrogo. He's a sophomore. He's coming out of this team, and he's pitched very well. He's a really good pitcher for them. He's pitched 22 2/3 innings so far with an ERA of 2.16. So a sophomore who can produce like that, it shows you that he's not only able to, contribute now, but he's a contributing piece in the future as well. So that's a really good spot for them. So they're going to be looking for him. And then Casa Grande, on the other hand, they've had a little bit of a rough start to this year, but I wouldn't be fooled by that because the Cougars have talent as well, especially from Cole Carmichael. He is their shortstop, their middle infielder, basically. He's going out for them on the team with the bat. He's got a 400 batting average right now with around, I believe, 22 plate appearances, so that's already really good production. And he's gotten on the mound as well a little bit. He's pitched 3 innings so far, all with no runs, so he's dipping in a little bit to the pitching side. We'll see if that happens a little bit more this year. So, I think these two teams could really put on a good show. I think it could turn into either a pitcher's duel or a slugfest, depending on where the offense and the pitching staffs are for this game on Friday night. So it should be a fun one. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, David mentioned it, this pitcher's duels. I'm kind of leaning towards this way. David mentioned Hidrogo for Vista Grande, and a couple guys for CG Union are doing also a pretty impressive job. You have Austin Grayfius, Jacob Marshall, and Marcus Baca. So far, these 3 guys have combined for 41 strikeouts, and Baca so far seems to, be kind of carrying the load for this team and being the most effective. He has pitched 8 2/3 innings so far, 14 strikeouts, and he has a 2.42 ERA. Going back to Vista Grande, we got to keep talking about Hidrogo. Not only can he pitch, but he can also hit. In the batter's box so far, he has a .435 batting average and a .567 on-base percentage. Now, this is a pretty big deal because, like David mentioned, he is just a sophomore. And coming into this, I thought that Vista Grande was going to rely heavily on their seniors. And while that might be the case, they still have Emilio Barreras and Jason Real. But a couple other guys like Nathan Acevedo and Trent Chavez have also been coming up for them in the batter's box. David, is there anything else you're looking for in this game?
Yeah, I think you just put it there perfectly. Like we talked about pitchers duels, we talked about possible slugfest. I would lean more, if I had to choose between the two, probably more on the pitcher side, just because, like you said, the talent with the Cougars and the talent that Vista Grande has, they could really put bats down and make it tough to get some solid hits out there and get some runs across the board. So we'll see how it plays out, but I expect a pitcher's duel in this one. It should be a good one.
Mm-hmm. So now transitioning over to softball and with the Vista Grande and CG Union game. First, I have to point out that the baseball game will be at 6 p.m. That will be at CG Union, whereas the softball game, same time, same day on Friday at 6, but it will be at Vista Grande. David, what are you expecting in this matchup?
Well, first of all, on the side of CG Union, their softball team has had a little bit of a tough start to the season. They're 0-4 in regular season play and only 1 win, and that came in so far this year, and that came in a Dorado Classic tournament game. So, this team is still in a little bit of a rebuilding stage, I would see. They went 4-10 last year, so they're just kind of, finding the right pieces and finding those notable young players that they can build around for the future and just kind of putting people out there and seeing what sticks. But on the other side of the field, you got Vista Grande, and, they're a team that's ready to win now, and it's proved that they were, runners-up last year in the 4A state tournament, and they're looking to come right back this year. And although they're starting out 1-2, I'm not scared about them. I'm not worried about them because they have great talent, and they got the first win in their last game against Rio Rico, and the bats really came alive in that game. They scored 11 runs. So while it looks like the offense is starting to come together, it's going to come down to pitching for me because we've seen last year, we talked about it before, Alyssa Tennant. She's been battling with some injuries recently. She's not really 100%. So, and with her being out, it proves how valuable she is to this team. She is a great hitter. She's a great pitcher. So it really comes down to if she's able to get back on the field soon. So we'll see how that shakes out. But The other starters they have, Adriana Montiel and Aya Ramos, they just need to keep working and keep games close. They need to be able to, find the right spots and be able to hit their catchers, hit their signs, and make sure they're missing bats. So it's going to come down to that. It's going to be pitching, because pitching always, you have to have solid pitching if you want to be competitive, and it'll just come down to those two starters to see if they can, hold their own when 10 is ready to come back to be 100%. But they should be okay once they get their feet under them. I think they're a really good team, and we'll just see what happens throughout the rest of the year.
All right, so David mentioned CG Union. A couple of years ago, I would have said, yeah, this is going to be a hard-fought battle between these two teams. Last year, not so much. CG Union was a very young team. They lost all that experience, that playoff experience that they were known for. And this year, it's kind of the same deal. They are also under a new head coach, like Vista Grande is with Victoria Belloc, but CG Union is under now under Dean Ornelas. Still a very young team. Their star pitcher, Brianna Sanchez, is just a sophomore. So far this year, she has tossed 43 and 2/3 inning, 22 strikeouts, and 8 walks. The big key here is her and Demi Cho, who has been helping her out in the circle. They've only allowed 49 runs. However, overall, the team has allowed 78 runs total. So there's a big difference right there between what the two pitchers are allowing and what's actually coming across the plate. Offensively, you have Kiliana Barnett coming back, one of their top hitters, .391, batting average so far, 9 RBIs, 4 extra base hits. But like David mentioned, pitching here is going to be key. Brianna Sanchez, we kind of know what she can do, and compared to Vista Grande's two young pitchers, right now she's the more experienced one, even though she just is a sophomore. So it's going to come down to basically what can the experience on Vista Grande's team do, like Ileana Cosillos, Selena Perez, Chucky Jones, and also Ashlyn Dela Cruz. We got to talk about Ashlyn. The past couple of years, she's been known to be out in the outfield, shagging down fly balls, but this year she's in the infield, and depending on who's pitching, whether it's Montiel or Ramos, she's either at second base or third base. So look for her to have an impact on the infield. David, is there anything else you want to add about this game?
I think for these two games, you just got to look out for two games specifically. You got to look out for defense as well. Defense is huge, and limiting errors is a huge, just a big thing for them that both these teams need to make sure they're watching out for, because if you're giving up easy runs, then it's going to be hard for you to come back. So great pitching, great defense leads to wins, and I think they should keep those mindsets going forward in these Friday night games.
All right, that does it for our breakdown of these games of the week. Be sure to check out Pinal Central over the weekend to see how these two matchups turn out.